Hi, Joe here again, and as we approach the beginning of spring, I have recently changed up the decor in my house. As I've probably mentioned before, I enjoy using my latch hook rugs to decorate for the seasons, whether it's a specific holiday or just the general season. And recently I switched out winter for spring. One of the most obvious ways to change up the decor for the seasons is to switch out which of these four banners I have displayed. This was all one kit from Hirschner's, but I did them all separately, and I only hang one up at a time. So the one on the far left is winter, and I've just taken that down and replaced it with the one next to it, which is spring. And down in the bottom left corner, you can even see a little bunny. As for specific holidays, most latch hook rugs that have been made for a holiday have been for Christmas, and I have tons of those. But in more recent years, there have been more kits available to decorate for other holidays. Coming up in just a few days, we have St. Patrick's Day. And this picture here is not actually a latch hook kit, it's a plastic canvas kit. But much like latch hook, it works off of a grid, and you just do one stitch per square of a particular color. So I took the pattern from this plastic canvas kit and tried to color match the best I could with colors of yarn I had, and I turned it into a latch hook rug. However, on this first attempt, I wasn't totally satisfied because while there were 3 shades of green in the original plastic canvas kit, 2 of those shades that I used in this latch hook rug are both too dark and look too much like each other. So I didn't feel like I got the full color scheme translated into my latch hook rug. So I actually made a second copy of that the next year, and I like it a lot better. I used pretty much a lighter shade of each of the 2 darker shades of green, and I feel it contrasts better. The only St. Patrick's Day actual latch hook kit I've done is this one here, which is a black background with a shamrock and then little shamrocks on the inside. This is a 20 by 27 Hirschner's kit. But again, I wasn't terribly satisfied with how that came out, so I made another one using my own yarn and just changed up a couple of the colors. I changed the background from black to an off-white, and I put a gold outline around the shamrock, and I like how that one turned out much better. After St. Patrick's Day, we have Easter, which is not until later in April this year. Easter is another holiday that did not have much in the way of latch hook rugs at first, but now there's a lot more available. The first one I ever got was this banner here that's just a rabbit with a carrot. It wasn't terribly expensive, and since this kit has been retired, the pattern has been available both for free and for sale at Hirschner's, and it's just a nice little simple bunny and a carrot with some Easter eggs down at the bottom to show those spring colors. Some of these others I've done include this Easter bunny, which is a 40 by 27 Hirschner's kit, and it's got a purplish background, and it's very happy looking. Then we have this pair of bunnies, like a bunny family. This is another Hirschner's kit, and this one was odd because there was a major pattern error where one of the symbols that was in the chart was not actually in the pattern, and the pattern had a symbol that was not on the chart, and they weren't for the same color. But thankfully, I was able to figure out what went where and get the rug made. I did report this to Hirschner's, but they never responded back, and I'm not sure that they ever fixed it in future kits. This next one here is one of my favorites, which is a nice little basket with a bunny in it and lots of flowers, and I think that's a great Easter decoration. This next one here is a shaped rug. This is one of my least favorite types of rugs to do, not because of the hooking, it's the finishing, because I'm never really sure if I've got it finished well enough, and I feel like I have to cut too much of the canvas to get everything folded back, and it just doesn't feel like it's going to be that durable. But I kind of got talked into this one by Hirschner's continually lowering the price, and eventually I think I got it for half price, so I finally gave in, and it certainly makes a nice little Easter bunny. Then these 2 rugs, which are just 12 by 12, another Hirschner's kit, they were sold together, and they were kind of underwhelming, but again, I think there was a sale. And one of the things I remember about making these rugs is one of them had a canvas that was unnaturally stiff, especially for something from Hirschner's. I mean, I was able to hook the rug, but it was just something that I remembered, and remembered again as I went to put it back up just last week, as the rug has no give at all as far as being able to be flexible. And I'm going to finish up Easter rugs here with a couple of my favorites. This one here is actually a Vervico kit, and while technically not an Easter rug, it does fit the theme because it's really just a bunny in some flowers. And I really like the combination of yellow and purple in flowers, and I just think this is a really nice looking little rug. And then finally is my favorite Easter rug, which is actually the first full-size one that I did. It's a Hirschner's kit that I did probably 7 or 8 years ago. And it's this girl in a purple dress and a yellow hat carrying an Easter basket full of lots of different color eggs and a little bunny in front holding an egg. And one of the unusual things I remember about this rug is it was missing an entire color. But there was only one strand in the entire rug of that color, and it's a bright red piece in the middle of the girl's mouth. And thankfully among my spares I had that piece, but it's the only Hirschner's kit I've ever gotten that was actually missing an entire color. Although, when you only put one piece in the pattern, it makes me wonder why they didn't just find a way to use some other color that was already in the pattern. Moving on to the rest of spring, I've got a few small rugs here. Daffodils, for me, are always a sign of spring. In fact, I've got plenty of daffodil bulbs planted out in front of my house, and I can see that they have sprouted, and hopefully will be flowering here in a few weeks. This is a Vervico kit, and I really like the daffodils that have the orange center and the yellow leaves. Here's another small Vervico kit, which is pansies, another sign of spring. And then we have this small orchidea kit, which orchidea drives me nuts sometimes with their colors being mixed together, but a lot of times on their small kits like this, the detail just looks really good, and I just really like this butterfly on the daisies. And I don't know if that technically means spring, but I think anything with flowers I'm going to count as spring. And then rounding up the small rugs, we've got this wagon here with flowers in it, but this is not a rug that I made. This was something that was a free pattern download from Hirschner's. And I thought I would try to spice it up. And that's how I came to make this rug, where I changed up the colors of the flowers. I pretty much kept the wagon the way it was, but I wanted it to have a sky with some clouds, and I wanted it to have some grass. What I did for grass was really just randomly mixed up a bunch of the different colors of green I had left, and I just made different colors in the flowers however I wanted. And finally, I just kind of set a line in the middle of the rug as to what I thought would divide the grass from the sky, and just put a few clouds in there to make it look more natural. This was 100% an experiment because I had 2 small pieces of spare canvas that I also hooked together to make this one rug, and it's only 8 inches by 8 inches, but I think it came out really well for something I did just for fun. Moving on to some larger spring rugs. Here's the rug I'm actually working on right now, and should have a video out in the next week or 2. This is going to be a blue barn with a field of daisies. And again, I don't know if that's necessarily spring. The daisies in my garden don't bloom until summer, but I'm going to count it this spring. Then we have this larger Vervico kit, which is a mixture of flowers and dragonflies and butterflies. And honestly, it's something I thought would look better than this. This is one of the larger Vervico kits I've ever done, which, if you don't know, Vervico does not do paper patterns for their kits. They do separate the colors of their yarn, but the only way you know the pattern is what is painted onto the canvas. And that wasn't really a problem with this one, but this is fairly large for one of their kits. Plus, their kits do smaller holes in the canvas. I think they do 4.5 holes per inch. So it takes a lot more work to get more rug. And this rug isn't actually very big, but I think that the autumn colors combined with all the flowers and butterflies just doesn't quite work for me. I think I thought it was going to come out different than it did, but still, I never regret making a rug. Next is another Vervico kit, and this is a scene that I consider for springtime because of all the yellow flowers here in the foreground, along with you got some water and a mountain in the background. Continuing with more flowers is this stained glass style kit from Mary Maxim, and Mary Maxim, to my knowledge, does not sell kits anymore, at least not of their own brand. And this is one I got on clearance a few years ago. And mainly the only reason I bought it was because I thought it was a really good deal. but I just wasn't enamored with the dark purple in here. So this is another rug where I kept the pattern and saved it for the lines, but just put my own colors on the inside, and I made a brighter version of it that I happen to like a lot better. And this is also a way to use all that spare yarn that I have from all the other kits I've done. Next is this Hirschner's kit, which is a cat with a watering can. Cats have been ever present in our house for a while. Although they don't go outside in the garden, my family is much more willing to let me hang up what I want if it has pictures of cats in it. And in this case, the cat is surrounded by tulips. And this next one is another 40 by 27 Hirschner's kit, which is garden boots. This is one that I got for like $30 off. That's going to be a recurring theme, is sometimes I get rugs just because they're on sale. But the thing is I like making rugs pretty much no matter how they turn out. If they turn out great, it's that much better. And if they don't, I usually enjoy the process of making them. I like this one, that it has the dark blue and purple background with the yellow boots that just pop right out of it. I think that looks great. This next one here is a truck. Looks like they're selling flowers. This one was one that I think it looks good, but has not been one of my favorites. Here we have the spring covered bridge. I believe Hirschner's did a covered bridge for every season. And of course I wanted the fall one because I love fall colored anything. And then the Christmas one I also had because I'm a sucker for those too. And so, of course, I got to have the spring one here with the cherry blossom tree. And I really like how the stones look along with all the water. And then we have another favorite, these cherry blossoms here with the geese in the pond and the gazebo in the middle. This is another 40 by 27 Hirschner's kit. And then one of my favorites, which is this garden gate. I like the way the white fence shows up, and then you've got all the different colored trees with all their blossoms in the background. I really think this is a beautiful rug to celebrate the beginning of spring. And then finally, the last rug that I'm putting as part of the spring collection, because I've done tons of rugs with flowers and birds and everything. It's just hard to categorize them, but this rug, again, this is not a rug. This is actually a diamond painting of a butterfly. And I thought I might try to turn this butterfly into a rug pattern, but the more I worked on it, the more I changed what I was creating and made this rug, which you might recognize as my profile picture. And the reason I made that my profile picture is this is the first rug that I truly believe I designed from scratch. The only thing I really kept from the original diamond painting was to use the outline of the butterfly as a guideline. I put a flower underneath it. I created a background using random combinations of green yarn. Again, this was entirely using up yarn I already had. And then I just kind of drew some lines in the middle of the wings to give it the look of a butterfly. And then I used some other photographs of butterflies to add color in appropriate places. And this rug ends up being about 28 by 28. It's a square. And there's really nothing special about it other than, to me, it's the first rug I've designed myself. Hopefully soon I'll have that new blue barn to add to my collection. And then I'll have another video about that and what it's like to make a Hirschner's kit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.